So, Pedro Pascal sent a selfie with his tongue out to Bad Bunny's team, and 25 minutes later, they called him back, and nobody told him he was about to be dancing in front of 100 million people. There is so much to unpack here, but the real story is not just funny, it is actually kind of beautiful, and it says something about this cultural moment that most of the headlines are completely missing. Shh, turn the volume up, but keep it low. This is Rap Deepest Secrets, the one place the labels can't control, exposing the codes, the cover-ups, the real cost of fame. Now back to the video. Pedro Pascal is, right now, one of the most famous actors on the planet. The Last of Us, The Mandalorian, Gladiator 2. The man does not need to beg for anything. He could sit in any Super Bowl suite in the country and people would be photographing him. And yet, when Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show was announced, Pedro Pascal did not wait by the phone. He did not assume he would get a call. He did not pull some Hollywood have my people call your people move and wait to be discovered. He reached out himself. According to a new interview in Fantastic Man magazine, Pascal says he put the feelers out through people I work with and made it clear he wanted to participate in any way, literally a volunteer position like serving coffee if needed. Serving coffee. Pedro Pascal, one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, offered to serve coffee at the Super Bowl halftime show. Let that sit for a second. Now, here is the part that makes this more than just a funny Hollywood story. Pascal was not doing this for clout. He was not doing it for the photo opportunity. He was not doing it because his PR team told him it would be a good look. He said it himself. When it comes to representation synchronized with celebration, there's no one better than Benito at the moment. And that fills me with inspiration outside of just being super into his music. Representation synchronized with celebration. That is a very specific and very deliberate phrase. Pascal, who is Chilean-American, is talking about what it means to watch a Latino artist not just succeed, but dominate the biggest stage in American entertainment during a political moment that has been openly hostile to Latino communities. He was not just a fan showing up. He was a Latino man in his 50s at the peak of his career who looked at Bad Bunny on that Super Bowl stage and felt something personal. Something that went beyond music. Something that said, I need to be part of this. And he chased it. After putting the feelers out, nothing. Silence. So Pascal moved on. He went to shoot Behemoth, a new project with director Tony Gilroy. His days filled up with filming. He even started taking cello lessons in his downtime. Life moved forward. But the Super Bowl dream? He could not let it go. So he did something that, honestly, most people would be too proud or too scared to do. He followed up with an email featuring a selfie of himself sticking out his tongue with the message, "It's really me." Now, picture that. Picture Pedro Pascal, beloved globally, literally plays a space cowboy for a living, sending a goofy selfie to Bad Bunny's team like he is texting a friend who left him on red. No ego, no entitlement. Just, hey, it's really me. I still want to do this. The response? 25 minutes. They called him back and said, we want you to come to the show. Here is where the story goes from heartwarming to absolutely chaotic. Pascal assumed he was going to be a spectator. He thought he had scored a seat in a suite, a fancy box somewhere above the field where he would watch the show, maybe get photographed, and that would be it. When the team told him to wear beige, he figured it was in case there were photos taken. Just blend in, look nice, show support from the stands. That was the plan, his plan. Nobody told him the actual plan. During the game, someone came and pulled him from his seat, took him backstage, and suddenly, Pedro Pascal found himself standing in a room with Cardi B, Karol G, Young Miko, and Jessica Alba. And then someone said, okay, so the vibe is you're dancing. He was being walked onto the field at the Super Bowl in front of 100 million people to dance in something called La Casita, one of the centerpieces of Bad Bunny's entire performance. He hadn't rehearsed, he hadn't been briefed, he had no idea, by his own description, what was actually happening until it was already happening. And that's exactly why, if you went back and watched that moment, he looked, in his own words, like a deer in the headlights. Okay, real talk. If you're the kind of person who watches a video about Pedro Pascal's tongue-out selfie and ends up genuinely moved by what it says about Latino identity and belonging, you're exactly the kind of person this channel is built for. We don't just cover the celebrity gossip version of these stories. We cover what the story means, why it matters, what it says about where we are right now. Subscribe right now. Hit the button, turn on notifications. This channel drops new videos regularly, and every single one of them is the kind of content that makes you see something familiar in a new way. Come be part of this community. Okay, back to Pedro on the field, because we are not done. Here's the thing about that deer in the headlights look. Millions of people saw it, and most of them laughed. Not meanly, but with genuine delight, because it was relatable, because it was real, because in a show that was otherwise incredibly polished and perfectly choreographed, there was Pedro Pascal, clearly improvising, clearly slightly panicked, clearly just trying to keep up. And it was one of the most human moments of the entire Super Bowl. But sit with the deeper version of what you were actually watching. You were watching a man who, weeks earlier, had been told nothing, who sent a selfie to a team of strangers with the message, "It's really me," standing in the middle of the most watched entertainment event in America, surrounded by some of the biggest names in Latin music and cultural consciousness, dancing in a celebratory space designed to honor a community and a culture. He didn't belong there by accident. He made himself belong there by asking. Twice, with zero guarantee that it would work, with zero pride about the ask, just genuine desire and the guts to follow through on it. And the deer in the headlights look? That's what happens when you actually get the thing you wanted, when it turns out to be bigger and louder and more real than what you imagined when you were chasing it, when the moment arrives and your body hasn't caught up with the fact that you're actually, finally, standing in it. Most people never get there because they never send the email. Let's zoom out for a second and look at what was actually happening on that field. Bad Bunny headlined the Super Bowl halftime show, the first Latino solo male artist to ever do so, with a performance that was primarily in Spanish, honoring Puerto Rican culture during a political moment that has been openly hostile to Latino communities. And in the middle of that performance, in a segment called La Casita, which translates to the little house, a symbol of home, family, and community, stood Pedro Pascal, a Chilean-American man, an immigrant, someone who has spoken publicly about what it means to be Latino in Hollywood, about the complexity of identity, about belonging to a culture that America sometimes celebrates and sometimes tries to push out simultaneously. He was not there as a prop. He was not there as a token cameo to boost the celebrity count. He was there because he asked to be, because he felt the weight of what Bad Bunny was doing, and he did not want to watch it from a distance. La Casita, the little house, a symbol of home, and Pedro Pascal danced in it, surprised, slightly panicked, completely real, in front of 100 million people. There is something quietly powerful about that image that the deer in headlights jokes kind of bury. There is a lesson in here that has nothing to do with celebrity gossip and everything to do with how people actually get to be part of the things that matter to them. Pedro Pascal did not wait to be invited. He put out feelers. He heard nothing. He moved on, but he did not let go. He followed up with something imperfect and personal and a little bit ridiculous, and it worked. Not because he was famous. Plenty of famous people do not get called back in 25 minutes. It worked because the ask was genuine, because the reason behind it was real, because when he said he wanted to be part of a moment about representation and celebration, the people on the other end of that email could feel that he meant it. Genuine desire is actually pretty rare. Most people perform desire. They say they want something, but they want it with conditions attached. They want it if it is convenient, if it is certain, if it is dignified. Pascal wanted this, even if it meant serving coffee, even if it meant a goofy selfie, even if it meant looking like a deer in headlights on live television. That kind of wanting, unguarded, unpretentious, real, tends to find its way to where it needs to be. Pedro Pascal sent a selfie with his tongue out. 25 minutes later, his phone rang, and 6 weeks after that, he was dancing in La Casita at the Super Bowl, surprised, unprepared, fully present, in the middle of one of the most historically significant halftime performances in the history of the event. He looked like a deer in headlights. He was also exactly where he wanted to be. And that, honestly, is the whole story. Not just of Pedro Pascal and Bad Bunny and the Super Bowl, but of what it looks like when someone refuses to watch a moment that matters to them from the outside. When they reach through whatever awkwardness or silence or uncertainty is in the way and say, simply, "It is really me, and I really want to be part of this." Sometimes the world says yes in 25 minutes. Sometimes it puts you on a field in front of 100 million people before you even have time to be nervous. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you get to look like a deer in headlights in the best possible way. If this video hit different, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're not subscribed yet, this is your sign. This channel covers the stories that look like celebrity news until you realize they're actually about something much bigger: identity, belonging, culture, what it means to show up for the things that matter. Subscribe, turn on notifications, come back for the next one, because there is always more to the story than the headline.